You wake up to the sound of an alarm. You drag yourself out of bed, already exhausted before the day even begins. You sit in traffic or cram into public transport. You stare at screens, attend meetings that mean nothing, and give away your life energy in exchange for money that barely sustains you. And then you call that life. But deep inside, something screams, this is not life. This is not freedom. This is prison. The ancients knew better. The Scythians knew better. They lived with a fire, a wildness, a freedom that modern man cannot even imagine. They rode horses across endless steppes, untamed by kings or rulers, beholden to no empire, chained to no desk. You were never ordinary. You were never meant to fit in. That's why you've always felt different. That's why you've been misunderstood. You feel like you don't belong here. And you're right, you don't. The Scythians were nomadic warrior tribes who dominated the Eurasian steppes for centuries. Fierce horsemen, masters of the bow, and feared by empires, they refused the change of civilization. They left behind no office cubicles, no mortgage payments, no soul crushing commutes. While modern man surrenders his life to fluorescent lights and buses, the Scythians lived with sky above, earth below, and fire within. They belonged to no master. They bent their knee to no system. They lived free, and they died free. And yet you're trapped in the illusion of progress, a cog in a machine designed to drain you. But maybe you may have been a Scythian before. You may be a Carthaginian human being. That fire that you feel inside, is it now? Is it from here? Or is it from a previous life that tells you you're not ordinary? Take the quiz, you'll find in the description below to find out. You were taught from childhood that the 9 to 5 is normal. School was training camp for the office. Bells rang, schedules ruled, obedience was demanded. You learned to sit still, to follow instructions, to raise your hands for permission to speak. And then they told you, get good grades, get a degree, get a job. That job would give you security, stability, and respect. But look around you. Where's your freedom? Where's your fire? Where's your life? The truth is, the 9 to 5 is a modern prison. Your paycheck is the bribe that keeps you quiet. Your boss is your warden. Your cubicle is your cell. That's why you've always felt different. That's why you've been misunderstood. Because you were never meant for this prison. The Scythians lived without rulers, without borders, without bosses. Their law was freedom, their currency was strength, their temple was the open sky. They didn't care about land or belongings. When Darius decided to attack them, they just left. The Persian army was exhausted chasing them and looking for the new location, which changed daily, and the expedition turned out to be a massive failure for the great Persian army. They were warriors, but they were more than warriors. They were visionaries who carried their entire lives with them. They had no need for empires, for wars, for hierarchies. They knew that freedom is the highest wealth. And you trade your freedom for a paycheck, your spirit for approval, your time for scraps. You sit in meetings discussing numbers and KPIs that mean nothing while your soul starves. You were never ordinary. You were never meant to fit in. You feel like you don't belong here, and this is because you belong to a different lineage. You carry within you the spirit of the Scythian, the fire of the Carthaginian. Why do you stay in your 9 to 5 prison? Why do you chain yourself willingly? The answer is fear, fear of poverty, fear of disapproval, fear of standing alone, fear of freedom, fear of the unknown. The Scythians had no such fear. They embraced risk, danger, and the unknown. They understood that only through danger do you find life, only through uncertainty do you find truth. Modern man avoids all risk, and in doing so, they avoid life itself. You're smothered not by death, but by comfort, safety, and routine. That's why you've always felt different, because deep down you know this isn't living. Deep down you know you are here for more. Download now your free guide, 10 Signs You Were Never an Ordinary Soul. Don't suppress your fire, fuel it. Do you ever feel rage boiling inside you? Rage at the traffic, rage at your boss, rage at the meaningless repetition. They told you rage is evil. They told you to suppress it. But rage is sacred. Rage is the fire within, the signal that you were never meant to live like this. The Scythians honored their fire. They lived by it. They burned brighter than the empires that feared them. You have that fire too. That rage is your compass. It points you toward freedom, toward truth, toward awakening the Carthaginian within you. You were never ordinary. That's why you've always felt different. That's why you've been misunderstood. Because you are not meant to submit, you are meant to burn. You may not be a Scythian by blood, but you are one by spirit. Every Carthaginian carries the same fire, the same refusal to be tamed, the same hunger for freedom. To awaken the Carthaginian within is to stop pretending that the 9 to 5 is acceptable. It is to stop lying to yourself that calmness is enlightenment. It is to rage at the prison, to burn the illusions, to reclaim your life. The Scythians lived free lives. You can too, but you must choose. Repeat these words until they're carved into your soul. You were never ordinary. You were never meant to fit in. That's why you've always felt different. That's why you've been misunderstood. These are not just phrases, these are codes, these are your memory. It's not history, it's your memory. The Scythians, free, fire, alive. You, tired, drained, chained. The Scythians were masters of their destiny. You are servant of a paycheck. The Scythians had fire in their veins, sky in their eyes, freedom in their bones. You are scrolling your phone on your lunch break, dreaming of a vacation you can barely afford. Do you see the contrast? Do you feel the insult? You are more chained than the slaves of empire past, because at least they knew they were not free. You call your prison normal. That's why you feel that emptiness. That's why you've always felt different, because you're not meant to live like this. You have a choice. You can stay asleep in your 9 to 5 prison, numbing your rage, suppressing your truth, convincing yourself that this is enough. Or you can awaken the Scythian spirit within. You can awaken the Carthaginian within. You can reject the prison, burn the illusion, and reclaim your fire. The Scythians lived freer lives than you ever will, unless you choose to rise, unless you choose to break your chains, unless you choose to remember who you are. You were never ordinary. You were never meant to fit in. That's why you've always felt different and misunderstood. Download now the free guide, 10 Signs You Were Never an Ordinary Soul.